Hello, Degens. Welcome to Degenerate Takes NFL Week Lucky 13. I am the Brofict one AJ. Outside of frame right there is getting the last little hit in. Is the one who knows everything, the one who seems to know all the stats, the numbers, and can pull out random stuff from history. The man, Mr. Noah Engelbretson. Noah, how the hell was your Sunday?
It's pretty good. I actually watched more basketball than football today, oddly enough,
Really?
which is unusual for me. But yeah, I mean, there weren't too many games that were that intriguing to me today
No, not even a little bit, dude.
when they were actually going on. I mean, on paper, some of them looked good.
No,
Uh,
none of them did.
I I did watch the Motor City Pity Kitties take down the Vikings, and that made me very happy. That was as a Packers fan on a bye week, that was the best case scenario for our bye week. That was the best thing that could have happened. I mean, it would have helped if the Bears, beat the Cardinals so the Packers are back in first place, but I wasn't getting my hopes up for that. It was just really, really good to watch the Lions get their first win against none other than the fucking Minnesota
Bro.
Vikings. And AJ, you'd be purple too if you'd been choking for 50 years.
No, if I'm watching the highlights literally right now as we speak, and they are showing the final play, Jared Goff with the fucking bullet to the end zone, just like a stud MVP quarterback. These Lions are no longer the pity kitties. They
No, they're
are
still the pity.
now
They're still the
no.
pity kitties.
Oh Noah. Oh
They just
Noah.
want
No
they
no
just
no
won a
no no
game.
no no no. I think you misunderstand what's going on here. I think
AJ,
this
this
win right
team's
here,
this
Noah.
team's this team's still gonna go 1-15-1.
Noah. Yeah, no, this year they are. This year they're going to go 115-1 absolutely. But
They got
next
a lot of
year,
fight. They got a lot of
Noah.
fight though. I will give them that.
Noah, we've awakened the beast. We have
I don't
awakened
I don't think I would go that far there.
the heart of the lion, the eye of the tiger. We've awakened Dan Campbell. We've awakened Jared Goff. They have tasted the blood of their victims, and they are going to want to taste it again. They are
To
not done.
bite to
This
bite
is
more kneecaps
just the
off.
beginning. This is the beginning, Noah.
Are they gonna be biting more kneecaps off?
All the kneecaps, Noah, gnawing them. Gnawing them, bro. I'm telling you. Anyway, if you can't tell, we loved the Lions' victory over the Vikings 29-27. Somehow the Vikings figured out a way to choke this game away. Shout out to them for doing that. I mean,
Well, after the Lions choked away a win, or not a win, a lead.
yeah, after they choked that shit away, people forget about that. People aren't going to
Lions had
talk
a
about that.
Lions had a 14-point lead going into halftime with getting the ball first in the second half. A lot of punts and a couple Jared Goff turnovers, and then the Vikings were, ahead in that game. And luckily, with a minute 50 left on the clock, there was enough time for them to go down. And I just don't understand if you're the Vikings how you're playing a soft fucking blanket coverage when it's
Bro,
4th and 2, 4 seconds left on the 11-yard line, and you're playing a soft blanket coverage.
so soft.
And
So
and
soft.
yeah, basically all Goff had to do was just zip that ball in there, and Amon-Ra St. Brown found a pocket in their little stupid fucking zone coverage, and the rest is history. I mean,
And
why
honest
are
to
you
God,
why I just can't wrap my head around like why you would give the receivers 10 to 12 yards
room.
of
Why would you
separation
give
when
them
they're on.
room?
Yeah, when they're on the 11-yard line, they have one play.
What are we doing?
You press them and play them tight. I mean, you don't have to really worry about them getting fucking behind you, like, but you're gonna give them 4 yards of separation in front of you. Like, come on, what are you doing? Now
Seriously.
I'm
And if
happy.
I'm
I'm
a
happy
Vikings
about the
fan,
result, but Zimmer's getting
very
fired
happy
at the
about the
end of this
result.
season.
He
Zimmer's
needs
getting
to.
fired,
Dude,
especially if they
NFC
miss the
North is going to
playoffs.
have. NFC North is going to have a shakeup, and we'll get to the
Two
other
new
shakeup
coaches,
in the
I'd
NFC
imagine.
North in a little bit. Minimum. Minimum.
Well,
But we'll get
Campbell
to
and
that in a minute.
Campbell and LaFleur aren't going anywhere.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Anyway, Noah, let's go. Let's continue on to this morning slate. This game, I mean, don't get me wrong. I knew they were going to win. I didn't think it would be this much. The Colts 31-0 against the Texans. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Colts are the worst. I mean, the Texans are the worst team in the NFL, and the Colts are probably the best team in the AFC right now. I mean, good win for the Colts. They're really starting to look good and really starting to perform well. They proved that they can win and blow out and shut out a terrible team, and I think that's a good step towards their playoff run.
I don't know that you can say that any team with Carson Wentz on it is the best in anything. I don't think they're the best in the AFC, but I also don't even fucking know who's the best in the AFC at this point. I'm so fucking confused. We have 4 teams at 8-4 now. Dude, the AFC's a mess. It's a joke right now.
Such a mess. It's such a joke.
The Monday night game will give us a lot more clarity on things. Because if the Patriots come out and just manhandle the Bills, then the Patriots take that crown, and rightfully so. But I could also see the Bills coming out and just fucking trashing the Patriots. Like, I could see either of those two teams dominating the other one. And the AFC,
absolutely.
I think every single week, me personally and most people are going to have a different opinion on who's the favorite in the AFC. And I don't think that's going to change until we get to the fucking AFC Championship game.
Honestly.
Because I don't think anybody...
then we have to have a favorite.
I don't think anybody's actually got a good... And even so, I feel like whoever ends up in the AFC Championship game, it's going to be like a 3 or less point spread. And it's going to be tight. And the AFC is completely up for grabs. This is the type of situation that's built perfectly for a team to get in to the playoffs with a 6 or a 7 seed wild card and run it to the Super Bowl. Like, the stars are aligned. So any team that's even in the hunt in the AFC, if you're a fan of that,
can make it to the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't be too down on your team, even if you're sitting at 6 wins right now. If you're sitting at a 6-6 record, you still got a very good chance with how many question marks there are about so many of the teams in the AFC. I don't know that there's a true favorite here. I think it's wide open. I think it's anybody's conference to grab. Unlike the NFC, which is
completely agree.
NFC, you got 3 or 4 teams that are.
You got 2 teams.
Well, I wouldn't go that far because I think
2 teams and Tom Brady.
Obviously, I do think there's a little bit of separation between the Packers and the Cardinals, and then, Tampa, Dallas, and the Rams. But outside of those 5 teams, I don't think any team in the NFC's got a chance. So, like, the AFC, like I said, there's a whole fucking 10 teams that could go on some Cinderella run, get hot at the right time, and make the Super Bowl. NFC, I think realistically there's 5 teams. And even within those 5, there's a little bit of a structured hierarchy.
Well, speaking of the NFC, let's move to probably 2 of the worst teams in the NFC. Sorry, I've been doing research on the NFL NFTs, and so NFT, NFL, that's going to be a rough one for a little bit. Giants, Dolphins. Dolphins dog-walking the Giants 20-9. It is apparently to note that the Giants were out without Danny Dimes.
Doesn't matter.
I think it does. I think this game would have been a lot. Bless you. I think this game would have been a lot closer if Danny Dimes was in there. Excuse me. And I don't think don't get me wrong. This Giants defense is soft and everything. And a Pop Warner quarterback could pick them apart like Tua was doing, but Tua still didn't look the best. What was
Tua threw the ball like fucking 8 when he threw the ball like 8,000 fucking times? It felt like
30 for 41. Jesus Christ.
I was gonna say his halftime.
That's a good stat line.
30
for 21, 244 yards and 2 tutties.
Well, no, because his yards per attempt was like fucking barely anything. It's just because his stats get inflated a little bit because the Dolphins have no fucking run game. So instead of running the ball, they just throw screen passes and shit. So like their run game is counting as pass yards too. But AJ, are the Dolphins back?
Noah?
This is what, five in a row?
Yeah.
Four,
They've
four or
rattled.
five?
They've rattled
Four in a
4 or
row.
5 wins in a row.
I think 4 in a row.
Jeez. I mean, no, they're not back whatsoever. Uh, but good on them for getting 5 wins in a row. If that's where we're at.
I think it is 5 because I think they're on bye week next week, it looks like. Yeah,
Believe
5
so.
wins in a row. Won their first game, lost 7 straight, and now they've won 5 in a row.
I mean, cool.
Well, I
Win
think
the
I
rest of
projected
them, and
them.
then you're in the playoffs, apparently.
I think I projected them at 10-7. So if they can just win the rest of their games, if they can win their last 4, I'm spot on with that one.
Hey,
I mean,
there we go, bub.
uh,
That would be nice.
I mean, I will say the Dolphins are looking. I don't want to call them necessarily a threat, but they're looking like a competitive team now.
yes, I would agree.
They figured
They
it out way too late.
They found their flow. They finally found it. They're able to do what they can do. And when they can do what they can do, they can win football games.
This is a team that I expected to be fighting for one of those wild card spots. And now, after ripping off 5 wins in a row, they're kind of right back in that conversation.
Yeah. Wow, they are.
So,
NFL
I mean, sitting at 6 and 7, they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. So we'll see what happens. We'll keep our eye on that going forward. But
you bet we will. I mean, shit, maybe what's their ATS? It's got to be pretty good at that point. We'll cover that more on Degenerate Bets later this week. That is what we call a teaser in the business, Noah.
Okay.
Anyway.
But yeah, the Giants suck. If
Giants suck so bad.
To cover the other side of that game, I don't think it matters that Daniel Jones was out. I don't think he's that much better than. I don't think he's better enough than Mike Glennon for it to make that much of a difference in this game. They still would have lost this game with Daniel Jones.
100%.
He sucks. He sucks too. I'm not saying Mike Glennon's good. I'm just saying they both suck. So.
Yeah. No, they're both terrible. The Giants are terrible. Moving from one terrible team to another terrible team. Buccaneers beat the Falcons 30-17. The fact that the Falcons were able to put 17 points on the Buccaneers, that defense still worries me, especially from watching the game.
What have I been saying pretty much all fucking season since like week 2? I'm like, their defense is suspect. They have a sus defense, and it's gonna bite in the ass come playoff time because when they have to play actual fucking teams, because they've had a pretty candy ass schedule for the most part.
They were set.
I'm not sure how that. I mean, their whole division sucks. That definitely helps because the Saints definitely not the team we thought they would be. Yeah, I mean, 2-point win over the Cowboys, lost to the Rams, 2-point win over the Patriots, a loss to the Saints, who are not even in playoff position right now, and then followed immediately by a loss to Washington. I'm noticing a trend. They suck on the road.
They're so bad on the road.
Which is probably not going to matter. They have the Bills next week. And then they play the Saints at home, at the Panthers, at the Jets, and then the Panthers at home. So they probably win their last 4. Whether or not they win this Bills game will decide if they're a 3 or a 4 loss team, I think. which is going to piss me off because they don't deserve to be. Like they should not have beaten the Colts.
No.
You know, if the Colts didn't turn the ball over 5 times,
Yeah, they should have won.
Bucks lose that one. You know, if the Cowboys didn't have those like 2 missed field goals, Cowboys beat them week 1. And the Patriots probably could have beat them week 4 too. So I like, you know, you are what your record says you are. So they are a 9-3 team, right? But this team could easily be 6-6 right now if a couple of those tight games went a different way. And that's also what separates mediocre teams and good teams, though, is winning those tough games. But I'm just saying, I think every close game scenario, every like iffy thing has gone the Bucks' way. And so they should be lucky to be at 9-3 right now.
Yeah, they really should be. And
they didn't look all that. I mean, their offense looked pretty good against Atlanta, other than Tom Brady throwing that awful pick 6. But
yeah, no, Tom Brady didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, 3 touchdowns and everything. That's pretty good. But that pick looked bad. That was a bad decision. Bad.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck he was throwing. I mean, I just that was just a head scratcher to me. It's like, you know, you're running a slant route at your own like 3-yard line. Dude just jumps the slant route, and Brady just seemed like he threw it straight to the defender. Just walk into the end zone.
It's like he got colorblind for a second. I forgot what color jerseys were.
I do think this Bucks team is. I do think they're going to have trouble when it comes to the playoffs, and they got to play good teams, especially on the road.
They will. And we're here to cover all of that.
I don't see them making a deep playoff run this year.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But we'll see how they close out the season.
We will. And 2 teams that are definitely guaranteed not to make a playoff run whatsoever. You got the Eagles and the Jets. Eagles beating the Jets 33-18. No, there was still a moment.
Can we talk about the quarterback matchup in this game, though? Because this, I was almost the most
quarterbacks ever.
I was almost the most excited for this game out of any this week, especially Jalen Hurts earlier this week with his ankle injury or whatever, saying that he was going to play. Turns out he did not play. We got to see Gardner Minshew, and holy shit, he looks like he still deserves to be starting.
Yeah. He does. He looked unbelievable. Did you see the video of him after he won with his dad?
I did not.
Okay, I'll send it to you. He is so hyped. Like, bro, Gardner Minshew is a dog. He is the man. Like, I want you to imagine 2 frat bros getting hyped up, and that's what it was. It was unbelievable how hyped he was on that win. I am putting on the conductor hat. Motherfucking chew. All aboard the Gardner Minshew bandwagon, bro, because we are here. Gardner Minshew should be a starter next year, and if you don't sign him, you're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Yeah, the disappointing thing is he'll end up back on the bench next week, but I think with this performance, if you have Hurts struggling in a game, I think this opens the door to Sirianni questioning, do I put in Minshew? With how well he played, I mean, granted, it was against the Jets. Their defense is not good at all. But I think with how well Minshew composed himself, how well he played this game, like I said, if Hurts is having a bad outing, a bad first half in a game, if you're Sirianni, it's got to be in the back of your mind. Do I put Minshew in? Do I put Minshew in?
Yeah.
And I hope to see more of Gardner Minshew because I love that man. I feel like he's had his chances, but he's also gotten really cucked out of a lot of opportunities in his young career.
But like a lot of these quarterbacks, Justin Fields, perfect example. And Mitch Trubisky, another perfect example as well. Go Bears. Um, but they're two very talented quarterbacks, and
You mean
they're
the
being wasted away
MVP,
on
Nick?
bad teams.
The
And
the
the
NV,
first ever
as
MVP.
far and as far as I'm concerned, the only. Apparently, they've been giving this award out every single fucking week this season, which is
They
stupid as
have
shit.
been,
It's some
but
ugly
that's not my
Nickelodeon trophy.
MVP. My MVP
My favorite was
is
just the fact that
fucking
they had a
Trubisky.
they had a fucking wild card round playoff game. Mitch had an awful game, and then it was a fan
Terrible.
vote thing, and I think it's still a fan vote thing. But I love how
Yeah.
the fans just sarcastically being pissed off that Nickelodeon somehow got to cover an NFL playoff game.
And I will never forget.
Because Trubisky won by a huge margin for the MVP.
Yeah,
Saints beat the Bears pretty decently.
pretty good.
Trubisky did not have a good game, but it was the funniest thing ever because then he has to go and fucking accept this award on TV.
I will never forget. I
And
was
that's
texting
why-
you the entire game.
That's why the
Bears
rest
suck.
of them are
They
the rest
suck.
of them are invalid. The rest of the MVPs are
And then-
invalid because they just mail them to whoever wins it every week. You should have to accept it in Trubisky fashion after losing a playoff game and going to accept some shitty Nickelodeon award. That is the true
D-Gens,
the true meaning of the MVP, and every other MVP is invalid. If Nickelodeon has another playoff game this year, I encourage everybody to go out, vote for like the biggest name player who's having a bad game on the losing team, make them accept the fucking MVP award. Just to highlight how much of a fucking joke Nickelodeon is and how they shouldn't be covering fucking NFL.
listen. D-Gens, this is a true story here. The entire game, I was texting Noah, blah, 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 this guy sucks, blah, 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 the Bears sucks, blah, 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 blah. Bet on the Saints and everything, like, you know, and then Noah has the balls, because I turned off the game once and ended. I didn't want to watch the post game. Noah had the balls to send me a picture of fucking Mitch Trubisky winning the MVP. I have never wanted to throw my phone into a shredder faster in my life. I was so pissed off in that moment. I couldn't believe Noah had the balls to do that.
I just can't believe that they actually like fucking let this go to a complete fan vote. First of all, I'm not surprised that the fans, because of how much of a joke award it is, I'm not surprised that the fans voted Trubisky to win that. But I'm surprised that they made him go and fucking accept this stupid ass fucking award for the MVP after losing a playoff game, getting bounced from the playoffs. Season is over, and he's got to go accept this stupid fucking award from Nickelodeon.
Unbelievable.
It was surreal. It was surreal, is what it was. That's why it was so funny, because it was like, is this actually happening?
All right, let's talk about one more game before we move on. We cut and move on to part 2. We got the Cardinals against the aforementioned Bears. Noah, this was at Soldier Field. The weather conditions were absolutely terrible. Kyler Murray doesn't play good in weather, and yet somehow he beats the Bears by 11.
What do
The
you mean
more
terrible?
concerning part for me
What do you
for
mean
this
terrible?
game
It was so,
was that the Cardinals allowed them to score 22 points.
AJ, it's Soldier Field. Cold and windy is kind of what you expect in December and January.
Yeah, no shit. But I'm just saying, Kyler Murray obviously doesn't play well in that, only putting up 33 points up with Khalil Mack out. I mean, that's
oh my god, dude,
and
the
then
Cardinals
22 points with the Bears. That's not. I'm not hype on our defense on that.
Yeah, the Cardinals offense looked pretty fucking stagnant for most of the day. Luckily, they, got to start multiple drives in Bears territory because of thanks to Andy Dalton's 4 interceptions this game. Fucking Red Rocket, Red Rifle, whatever you want to call him. Andy Dalton said, he put on his full Santa Claus and just started giving out gifts to all of the Cardinals
left, right, and
defenders.
center. Now, in his defense, there were a couple that were tipped and that were then intercepted. Like the one floater to Murphy Jr.
When, when the fuck
was
is Foles gonna get a chance though? Like you got Dalton throwing 4 picks and you're not gonna make a quarterback
Noah.
change. Nagy's made
No,
like
he's a
18
$30
quarterback
million
changes.
ornament.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, Foles is sitting on his. I think he's making 13 million or 14 million this year.
Don't
Just
even.
fucking
Don't
ride the
even.
bench. I don't blame him. He's the
Don't
luckiest guy
even
in the
talk to me
NFL.
about it.
He's the luckiest guy
He
in the
really is
NFL
because he won't play. He won't play.
All he
He's
has-
probably the best quarterback we have on roster. And Matt Nagy is the biggest idiot in the NFL. He won't fucking start him. He won't give him a chance. But you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. He's fired after this season. All I wanted for Christmas was Alabama to lose and Matt Nagy to get fired in Thanksgiving. I haven't gotten either of those yet. Like I said on the college football podcast, I might be getting coal for Christmas. I didn't think I was being this bad.
AJ, just be patient on the Matt Nagy
Oh man, if he doesn't get fired.
job situation.
But then Ryan Pace is still there. Ryan Pace is still there, and I got to deal with
He's-
his dumbass decisions.
Yeah, well, here's my. I think
we think you, Mitch Trubisky, are better than fucking Matt Mahomes and everything, and we're happy you fell to us. Go fuck yourself, dude. Seriously.
I do think
Anyway,
Nagy will probably get fired before the season's completely over. I think Pace will get fired in the off season. Would be my guess. But we will find out about that. I don't know. I do think if you're an Arizona fan, you obviously cover the spread, but the way this game went, this is about as worse, like as far as a reassurance game, this is about as worst as you can get for an 11-point victory. Like this
Yeah.
was not
No,
a
that's
this
bad.
was not a pretty 11-point win. This was a fucking, given the circumstances of the game, this is a should have won by 30 points type of game that you only pulled out an 11-point win. So that makes me a little bit
Not at all.
nervous. Obviously, Kyler Murray been out like 4 weeks or something like that.
Yep.
4 or 5 weeks. So a little bit of rust there, I'm sure. But if Kyler Murray's got problems playing in the cold, Cardinals better fucking hope they get the 1 seed, because if they have to go to Lambeau and
We
he's got
need the
issues
1
playing in the
seed.
cold,
Yeah, we're gonna be fucked, especially because it'll be snowing.
oh yeah, baby. And that's why I'm hoping the Packers get the 1 seed, because no, there is not a single fucking team in the NFC that's a contender right now that wants to come play in fucking Lambeau in January. Not a
Tom Brady
single.
hates it. Kyler Murray hates it.
Dak and the Cowboys, Stafford and the Rams. I mean, you got four warm weather teams that if they have to come play at Lambeau in January, it's going to be brutal for them.
Well, we
And
will
guess
cover
what?
that in the
Packers-
future.
We love the cold and snow. Best thing is
You
too,
guys do. You guys do.
Packers can go out and practice in it all week, so they're ready for it.
Very true. Very true. Final thoughts on the Cardinals. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs. Obviously, they're the best team in the NFC. Still a little bit worried about this cold weather and stuff. It's
I
gonna
wouldn't
affect
say
them
they're
like this.
obviously the best team in the NFC, but I would say they're top 2.
Well, we're both homers for the 2 best teams in the NFC West, so obviously
Who
we're
won-
going to differ
who
on
won
that.
Who won head to head though? That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say.
Anyway, we will cover the rest of the NFL slate on Degenerate Takes NFL Part 2. So we will see you over there on Degenerate Takes.